Good evening. Happy Sunday. Today I shall discuss on a very interesting subject, a simple technique to predict marriage and the future of marriage. This will be the subject. But today is Sunday, the day of Surya Deva, who is the father of the universe and the father of all of us. Let us start the session by offering prayers to the sun god Surya Deva in Sanskrit. Pita Sharga, Pita Dharma, Pita Hi Paramam Tapa. Pita Sharga, Pita Dharma, Pita Hi Paramam Tapa. Pita Sharga, Pita Dharma, Pita Hi Paramam Tapa. My father is my heaven. My father is my religion. My father is my ultimate objective of life. Reciting of Father Mantra has become essential for inner strength in view of the high-handedness and prioritizing anti-man laws in the country. Today we shall learn yet another brilliant but simple technique of how to predict the happiness of marriage and the future of marriage through Trishamsha horoscope, the horoscope of fortune and misfortune. It is many people doesn't know how to use D30 for examining the marriage, happiness out of the marriage and future of the marriage. We shall be simply examining the condition of the seventh lord of the Trishamsha D30 and the condition of the eighth house of the longevity of the first marriage in the Trishamsha means D30 chart. Let us apply our research parameters to a few Trishamsha horoscopes for laboratory tests for the ease of our understanding practically for predictive purposes. For ease of our understanding practically for predictive purposes, because without horoscope it is very difficult to explain any astrological thesis, any astrological rule. It has to be shown on the horoscopes that I exactly do. Trishamsha D30 of Indira Gandhi, the widow of Mr. Firoj Gandhi. It is a D30 Trishamsha chart for misfortunes. Since it is the chart of misfortunes, it is the chart of fortunes also. Means when there is a misfortune, there will be fortune also. Whenever there will be a fortune, there will be misfortune also. It's the simple logic. It is I consider this D30 means Trishamsha chart both for fortune and misfortune, and I will show how. Let me first narrate, then I will come back to the horoscope to explain. The seventh house of our D30 is Taurus, and Venus is the seventh lord in the eighth house of Gemini, aspected by the natural malefic Mars. The Sun, who is a mild malefic in the seventh house, is in the seventh house, shows the prospect of marriage, shows there is a prospect for marriage. Venus, the seventh lord of marital happiness, is afflicted by Mars in the 8th house. Mars is a natural malefic, also afflicts the 8th house of longevity of marriage. She had neither a happy married life nor did her marriage life last for long, as Firozji died early, means the husband of Indira died early. It is the Trishamsha horoscope of Indira Gandhi. See, first let me explain. You see, the 7th house of Trishamsha shows the prospect of the marriage. Remember it. 7th house, look at my cursor. 7th house of Trishamsha shows the prospect of marriage. Most of you perhaps don't know because you have not used Trishamsha for predicting marriage. But it has to be used. It gives the correct picture whether there are prospect of the marriage, whether there is no prospect of the marriage. It shows clearly, very clearly. You limit yourself to D9 only, but it is not so. Final outcome comes through the analysis of Trishamsha horoscope. The 7th house is the house of prospect of marriage, and 8th house is the house of Mangalya. You all know, you call 8th house as the house of Mangalya, but Mangalya is nothing, the longevity of the marriage. 8th house shows the longevity of the marriage in D9 as well as in D30. Look at our horoscope. 7th house is occupied by Sun. He is not a malefic. Sun is not a malefic. It is a strong planet. In Hindu astrology, we consider Sun as a strong planet, but not as malefic, like Saturn and Mars. Saturn and Mars are the real malefic, natural malefic. It is occupied by a mild malefic, very mild malefic, Sun. So we see that there is a prospect of getting her married, of her marriage. There is a prospect of her marriage. There is a prospect, but whether marriage will last for long or end up early, this is the main question. See, the 7th Lord has gone to the 8th house of the longevity of marriage and aspected by Mars, who is a core malefic. He is aspecting. Means the longevity of the marriage may not be very good. It will shorten the longevity of the marriage, which exactly happened with Indira Gandhi because Firozji died early. I have taken several horoscopes, don't worry. In every horoscope, I shall be explaining. Trishamsha horoscope of Modi. Look at the Trishamsha horoscope of Modi. I will first narrate, then I will explain. The 7th house of Sagittarius is doubly afflicted by an exalted natural malefic Saturn and another natural malefic Mars. He doesn't have a happy married life. It is almost known to everybody. He doesn't have a happy married life. His first institutional and social marriage is continuing only because there is no malefic influence on the 8th house of the longevity of marriage. The 8th house of Capricorn and the 7th Lord Jupiter are in the signs of Saturn, detachment giver. When the 7th Lord is in the sign of Saturn, it gives detachment, or with Ketu, it gives detachment from the marriage. are in the signs of Saturn, detachment giver, which gave him detachment from his legally wedded wife, even though the married life out of the first institutional marriage is continuing. See, let us now examine the horoscope of Modi. See, the seventh house is Sagittarius, occupied by Venus, aspected by Saturn and Mars. Have you seen? So, it has given marriage because of Venus. Venus is there in the seventh house. But the affliction has made the married life very bitter. Made the experience of his, not experience, that is his married life bitter for him. Jupiter is the seventh lord. Where it is in the sign of, it is in Aquarius of Saturn. It is in Aquarius, Saturn, sign of Saturn. So it has given detachment of him from the married life. Horoscope will tell everything. Nothing can be concealed. Nothing can be concealed when it is in the hand of a good astrologer. Eighth house. Let us now examine his eighth house. It is the eighth house. See, eighth house in Shubh Kartari between Venus and Jupiter. And there is no malefic influence on the eighth house. This is why the marriage is continuing till now. Otherwise, marriage would have come to an end through legally. I am talking about legal separation. There is no legal separation because the eighth house is unafflicted. But he is completely detached from his wife. Everybody knows why I should conceal. Everybody knows all those things, and his horoscope is indicating. His horoscope is indicating the same. So it is clear, seventh house is the house of the prospect of marriage. Because of Venus in the seventh house, he had a marriage. Legal marriage. I am not speaking about any other marriage. Legal marriage. And eighth house is the longevity of the marriage, which is under Shubh Kartari without any malefic aspect on it. That is why the marriage is still continuing. Please remember the simple formula. The seventh house is the house of the prospect of marriage in D30, and eighth house is the longevity of the marriage in D30, means Trishamsha. This is the simple formula I am discussing. Horoscope of a female who separated from her husband by taking a huge amount of money in the name of so-called settlement. Nowadays it has become a trend, taking money from the husband, huge amount, in the name of settlement, and to live away from the husband without any reason. It has become a trend. Horoscope of a female who separated from her husband by taking a huge amount of money in the name of so-called settlement. It is the Trishamsha chart of that female native. It is the Trishamsha chart of that female native. I shall first narrate and then discuss on the horoscope. The seventh house of marital happiness out of the first institutional marriage is afflicted by the natural malefics Saturn and Ketu. The eighth house of Mangala, longevity of marriage, is though not afflicted but in Pap Kartari due to the aspect of Saturn in Gemini. Aspect of Saturn in Gemini, the house immediately preceding the eighth house of Cancer, and the Sun in Leo, and Sun is aspecting the sign Leo, the house immediately succeeding the 8th house of Cancer, indicating that though she physically separated herself from her husband but not legally through court, this woman has already married. After separation, she has already married. This woman has already married her lover after the separation from her first husband, after taking a huge amount of money from him, from her first husband, perhaps through intimidation and coercion of lodging false omen cases tantamount to blackmailing and robbing the trust of the groom and groom's family, which has become fashionable and rhetorical in our country, particularly after 2014, and is against our Hindu religion and customs. It is a blackmailing, nothing else. Coercioning and intimidating to misuse the woman laws is unethical. Now, how you can intimidate somebody? And law is lopsided. It doesn't support the husband. Only one-sided hearing is given. That too of the wife is the practical thing I am talking about. I have gone through many YouTube videos on that the story of Akool Subhash. These are very convincing, how the laws are being misused against the husband. If you are interested, you can search. Now let it be, whatever may be. All these are vote bank politics. I don't want to interfere. I will now show in the horoscope. The Lagna of D30 is Sagittarius, and 7th house is Gemini. See, Saturn is aspecting Gemini, and Rahu and Ketu, whenever in a divisional chart together, Ketu has to be taken to the 7th house from Rahu, because they cannot be together, na Rahu Ketu. They always maintain 180 degree distance from each other. So Ketu is there. So 7th house is afflicted. Saturn is afflicted. Saturn is also afflicting it. But the 7th Lord, Mercury, is not afflicted. That gave her that omen, it is a female horoscope, that omen, the first institutional marriage, but she didn't derive happiness from the first institutional marriage. She didn't derive happiness. It is none of anybody's fault, na? If you do not derive happiness from something that you are expected to derive happiness, and if you don't find happiness in that particular social thing, that is your fault, not the fault of the society. But priority is given to the woman. That is the whole thing. Priority need to be given, but not through a foul means. Saturn is aspecting the 7th house of marital happiness, and Ketu is there. So she didn't derive marital happiness. What happened? Look at the 8th house, the longevity of marriage. 8th house is not afflicted, but it is in Pap Kartari. See how? 8th house is Cancer. What is the prior sign to Cancer is Gemini. Saturn has been aspecting it, and Ketu is there, because we will take Ketu from Sagittarius to Gemini, because Rahu Ketu cannot be together. So the sign One sign ahead of the 8th house is afflicted. Sun is in Aquarius. From here it is aspecting Leo. So it has come between Paap Katari. Marriage has not been broken legally. The marriage of this native, female native, has not broken legally. She took the money, huge amount of money, but through coercion and intimidation of misusing Omen laws and gone with her lover. This is the story. And her horoscope shows that. A relationship is built through mutual trust and sacrifices, and not through blackmail and attempted false cases in the court and obtaining decrees in one's favor by taking advantage of the lopsided laws. I shall repeat it. A relationship is built through mutual trust and sacrifices, and not through blackmail and attempted false cases in the court and obtaining decrees in one's favor by taking advantage of the lopsided laws. Laws need to be gender neutral. Laws need to be neutral. Why it should support a particular gender? Wherefrom the male citizen will get the justice? Wherefrom the male citizens of the country will get the justice? If your laws are so defective, court also cannot help you. Because how court can help when the laws are lopsided? Lopsided thing cannot give justice, cannot deliver justice. Law should be neutral, and it is there it is the basis of our constitution. By violating the basis of our constitution, by violating the basis of our constitution, such type of laws has been formed, like marital laws. These are being randomly misused. Why it is being randomly misused? Because it has been framed one-sided only, against the men, simply against the men, not just to give any justice. It should be, anything should have a justice, anything should end up in justice, not like that. It should be neutral. Law should be neutral for everybody. What to speak? Let it be. What can be done? Technique of predicting. Now I am discussing the technique of predicting the yoga of widowhood and widowerhood through Trishamsha. I am now discussing, I will show on a horoscope of a novel omen how the technique has to be applied. The same technique. Technique of predicting the yoga of widowhood and widowerhood through Trishamsha. Horoscope of a novel omen. Who is novel? People will always call her as novel. Horoscope of a novel omen. A common person, a common public. She is not a very big public figure. She is not at all a public figure. She is a common citizen. Horoscope of a noble omen. I am calling her noble out of my respect. Horoscope of a noble omen who could not save the life of her husband from carcinoma, means cancer, carcinoma, even after all her best and all her sacrifices. It is the horoscope, Trishamsha horoscope of that particular great lady who stood by her husband even at the time of his last breath. I will first narrate, then explain on the horoscope. The 7th house of our Trishamsha, D30, is unafflicted, showing a hassle-free early marriage. Yes, she was married very early. But see how we determine early marriage, late marriage, or timely marriage. It depends on the sthan kal patra. Means if in a particular community marriage is given at 20 years, then 20 to 25 years is the timely marriage. In a particular family like our urban areas, people marry at the age of 40. That is their normal marriageable age, 40. In urban areas, in metros, they marry at the age of 40, 35, 40, post 30. That is there. So there is no hard and fast definition of early marriage and timely marriage or delayed marriage. There is no. In a place where it is called early marriage, in other place it will be called late marriage. It depends from place to place, custom to custom, society to society, like that. The seventh house of our Trishamsha, D30, is unafflicted, showing a hassle-free early marriage. She was married perhaps at the age of 22, like that. But when we look at our eighth house of widowhood, the death of marriage, widow, what is eighth house? Mangala, the death of marriage, the longevity of marriage, both can be seen now. That is why I have at the beginning taught that D30 can be used for analyzing fortune and misfortune. The seventh house of our Trishamsha, D30, is unafflicted, showing a hassle-free early marriage. But when you look at our eighth house of widowhood, the death of marriage, we find that natural malefic Rahu is there and aspected by another two natural malefics, Mars and Sun, forming a strong yoga for widowhood. Moreover, Mars, the eighth lord, is strong, being exalted and turned to be a hardcore malefic for occupying the Trishamsha of hardcore malefic Saturn. I'll show on the horoscope. Lagna is Virga, seventh house is Pisces, occupied by Mercury, and there is no malefic influence on the seventh house. So the marriage was early. Now look at the eighth house. Eighth house will be Aries. Eighth house is the Aries, and Aries is in Rahu Ketu axis. Rahu is there. Mars by his fourth aspect, aspecting the eighth house of widowhood or longevity of marriage or death of marriage, whatever you call. Many things can be seen from the eighth house. So Mars, a natural malefic, has been aspecting the eighth house. Sun is also aspecting. Sun is a mild malefic, not that bitter malefic like Mars and Saturn. Moreover, you see the eighth lord is stronger than the seventh lord and the Lagna lord. See, eighth lord is Mars, the lord of widowhood, death of marriage, lord of widowerhood, is Mars, who is exalted. He need not to be exalted. Eighth lord in the Trishamsha horoscope need not to be exalted. It is exalted. And moreover, it is in the Trishamsha of Saturn, which has increased his malefic capacity many times. This is the reason she became widow. Despite of her lot of efforts, she could not save the life of her husband. So I called her a noble woman. A noble woman. I shall now be concluding this presentation. Thanks for watching. I am Akool, astrological author, analyst, researcher, philosopher, and teacher. Thanks for your time. If you have liked the video, please give a liking. If you like this type of research astrological presentation, you can subscribe to the channel for regular updates, because every day I come up with a beautiful and unique research piece for presentation.